Gobi. Hey, we are excited to be here today. It's Saturday morning, as I was just saying, on a cold, blustery day here in Utah. But guys, we are fired up. We are excited. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the month of October was 72% above the month of September. Gobi is absolutely exploding. The thing that's exciting to me is literally we have leaders coming in from all over the world. We are being recognized. We're making noise in the industry. We are growing like crazy. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about today that I'm a little bit concerned about because of our growth, one of the things that we need to make sure we're doing as leaders is, are we taking the time to onboard our people properly? And what I mean by that, there's a little bit of training that needs to be done. We need to get them into the back office. We need to go through the training. We need to show them how to input their people. We need to show them where the viral videos are. And then the other thing that's kind of interesting is I've been doing this industry for a long, long time. And so, a lot of times the things that we take for granted or that I take for granted are what most people, when they really look at it, they go, oh my gosh, so I'm starting a new business. How do I really do it? What do I do? And so I can just tell you, so when I been doing this for 32 years, I put together a training, literally it was called Mastering the Basics when I was in USANA. And I pulled out from my file, this is my original Mastering the Basics. This book happened back, I think, in 1994. And basically, it was mastering the basics. It was the basics of network marketing, the basics of doing the business, right? Well, that original, again, this is a go to Kinko's, get your coffee made. And then it turned into this book. And I also put a cassette tape together. Now, some of you probably don't even know what a cassette tape is, but I had a cassette tape that went along with that workbook. It became the number one selling training in USANA. And then when I joined Monavie, I basically carried that training forward. And basically, the thing that was interesting is that the information is essentially the same. Whether it's 1992 when I started it or 1990 when I started in network marketing or today, what I used to do when I would do these trainings, I would do a 4-hour training or I would do an 8-hour training. And essentially what it was how to give a presentation. Because people get involved, they get excited, they join Gobi and they go, okay, I'm ready to go. And then they go, oh, I've got my buddy Smiley. What am I going to say when I pick up the phone, or what am I going to do? If I actually get a hold of him, what am I going to say? So I always wanted to spend a few minutes and go through kind of the breakdown. And here's what I would challenge all of you to do. If you're brand new to the business, you're brand new to Gobi, sit down and take some time. Take some time and literally, I used to also do this coaching course where it was a 5-week course. Write out your presentation, because here's what happens. If you're confident in your ability to give a presentation, to talk to people and do that, it's much, much easier. You're not nervous. You're not, you don't feel the stress of, oh my gosh, what am I going to say if Smiley actually answers the phone? That's the scariest part of the whole deal. Is like, what are you going to say? And so, and it's pretty basic, but here's one of the things I'll tell you, and here's kind of your homework. People get involved in Gobi and they want financial freedom, they want all these different things. So let's talk about that for a second. What are people doing today to make a 6-figure income in the world outside of the Gobi world? I want you to think about this for a second. Guys that are making or guys or women that are making $100,000 a year, typically what did they do, or what have they done? How much education have they got? How much time did they spend getting that education? So let's just kind of go through it. We're told get good grades in high school. The reason we want to get good grades in high school so we can go to college. Why do we go to college? Well, we do like our football teams, but basically the reason we go to college is so we can get an education, so we can get a better job in the future, correct? Well, think about this for a second. We go to college for 2 years, 4 years, 6 years. We were just at a wedding last night of our friends. He had a son who was, one of our neighbors, young men. He just finished being a doctor. or going to doctor school, medical school. Well, guys, that's 12 years of education by the time he does go through and he has to do his residency, the whole 9 yards. Think about the money that he spent to do that. Now, yes, he loves people and all that sort of thing, but essentially, part of the reason of becoming a doctor is to make more money, right? Well, what happens and what I see in this industry or this business, people join and they go, okay, I'm ready to make 10 grand a month. And you say, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to literally write out your presentation and work on it so you're comfortable when you get somebody on the phone. And they go, oh, yeah, I'll get to that. So let's just go through it. So if you're comfortable with it, and the thing that you'll find is the leaders, they have their spiel down. Literally, I've been last week, come last night, I kind of hit the wall. I'm like, holy cow, I am tired. It's been a long week. Been a great week, but we are bringing teams from all over the world. And guess what? I'm on Zoom calls. I probably do 5 to 10 Zoom calls a day. Now, if you're one of the leaders that have got other leaders on the call and you're hearing me tell the story, guess what? The story is essentially the same. Okay, so I'm going to go through when you get someone on the phone and the process that this happens. Okay, here's your presentation. And write this down. Get your pens out, get your paper out, write this down. A presentation basically consists of 5 things. Okay, number 1 is your story. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Number 2 is the company. Number 3 is the product. Number 4 is timing. And number 5 is compensation plan. Okay, now let's break down each one of those things. Now, typically, if you're giving a full-blown presentation, that should be about 20, 25 minutes long, period. So when you break this down, your story should be 3 to 5 minutes long. The company story should be 3 to 5 minutes long. Products may be a little bit longer. Comp plans probably 10 minutes long because it's just there's more explanation in it. So here's what we do. Here's kind of how we break it down. Your story, and I see this happen all the time. We get somebody on the phone, and we just throw up on them, and we don't care about it. The first thing I do is say, hey, tell me a little about yourself. Steve, tell me a little about yourself. What's your background? What's your experience? As I'm listening to this, basically, I want to get to know the individual a little bit. And then when I tell them, well, okay, let me tell you, and typically I'm doing a freeway or someone else, and I go, okay, well, let me just tell you a little bit about what we're doing. I'm Burt Green. So here's the breakdown of your story. Your story consists of 3 things. Number 1, who you are, where you came from, why you're there. Who you are is basically your background, okay? My name is Burt Green. I'm the youngest of 10 children, grew up on a farm in Driggs, Idaho. Okay, moved to Utah about 20 years ago, or 30 years ago now, getting old, basically for 3 reasons. Gain residency, go to school, get an entry-level position, give me some sort of business background, and get married, met my wife. She happens to be from Utah. You know how many times I have told that over the last 32 years? Literally thousands of times. That's who I am. That's who I am, okay? Where I came from, now that's the process that you have come to your back from going, okay, you know what? I need to do something different. Let's say you're working a job. The job is not what you want. It's not getting you where you want to be. And so in your mind, you've gone through the process of going, you know what? I need to do something different. Maybe you're filling up your gas tank and you're looking at the gas price. You're going, holy cow, I need to do something different. And so it's a little bit of the process of, I came down to Utah. I'm looking for an entry-level position, give me some sort of business background. A buddy of mine called me, and it was one of those, we're going to get rich calls. We probably all had those calls. And basically that was my introduction to network marketing 32 years ago. I looked at it as a way I could be my own boss, set my own hours, do my own thing while I was going to school. That's kind of where I came from. And then the third part of your story is why you're there. Why you're there is what you see in Gobi. Oh my gosh. You know what? A buddy of mine called me and he showed me this company. Holy cow. With fuel prices, with inflation, with the environment, the pollution, everything. I ran across this company. I cannot believe what these guys are doing. They've got a product. And literally, that's why we're here today. That's why we're meeting today on a Saturday morning, is because of this, this incredible thing that I found. Okay. So there's your story, who you are, where you came from, why you're there. Now, guys, take a minute and think about it and break it out and write it down. Memorize it, okay? Because again, if you hear me tell these, get me on a three-way call or whatever, you'll hear me say this 10,000 times. People go, "Oh, you do a pretty good presentation." Well, it's not that I give a great presentation. It's I've got my presentation down and I just give it to a different audience every time we do it. You know, if you travel around with us, like as when we're doing these events, what's Lance's mantra? Do clap, bang, right? I get a standing ovation. For those that have seen events, I get a standing ovation at every event. And people think it's like the coolest revolutionary. Guys have been doing that standing ovation thing for 30 years. Lance has been doing the 2 clap bang for 30 years. We just have a different audience. So get your information down. Next part of the presentation is the company. Okay. Now, can you talk a little bit about Govee? Tomorrow will be our 5-month mark. Okay, so we're a company. We've got, we're a company. Can you tell a little bit about me? Can you tell a little bit about Lance? Can you tell a little bit about the company, where we're based, what we're doing, what our goals are, those things? You need to basically, again, write it down. Say, let me tell you a little bit about Burke Green. He's been doing this for 32 years. He's built huge organizations. Let me tell you about Lance Conrad. One of the things, if you're looking to make a 6-figure income, what are people doing today? Part of doing this is getting your belief level high. We had some leaders fly in yesterday to come and kick the bricks. You know, come and see the new office, take a video of the office to show their people. Come meet, literally, to come meet me. Lance and Angel are in Japan, but to come and meet and go, okay, these guys are real guys. Why are they doing that? Because that's part of their story. You know what? I flew to Salt Lake. I met the guys. I've seen the building. Yeah, it's a real deal. Okay. So come a little bit about the company and keep it. You don't have to go into in depth. We're based in Utah. These guys, you know, there's probably 70 years of network marketing experience between them. You start looking at the model that we have. You know, you'll hear me talk about this on every single presentation. The model we have here at Govee is different. 20 to 30 people in your organization, you're making $500 to $1,000 a month. That's a different model. We have a product that is a worldwide, universally acceptable product. These are little phrases you will hear me say almost every time. And the reason that I say that is because I've developed this presentation over time. Okay. So your story, company. What's the next one? Products. Okay. Now, keep it simple. What do we have? We have a product, organometallic catalyst. Write that down, organometallic catalyst. It won the Nobel Prize. The technology behind our product won the Nobel Prize in 1973. Okay. It's basically, and I literally open it up. I show you the product. And, you know, I don't get technical. People go, well, I got to have the scientific document before I can. Guys, it won the Nobel Prize in 1973. Okay, our scientific document, we are getting more and more studies and stuff done on our product. And the thing that's cool about it, every time we get a study done, it comes better than what we're doing or than what we've seen in the past. A big issue today, fuel prices, right? But a bigger issue than even fuel prices is the environment. And this is what we're starting to tell people, and we're even starting to talk to some government officials going, gosh, you know what, if every car in Salt Lake City had this catalyst in there, if we put the catalyst in their car today, tomorrow there would be half the emissions, half the pollution go out into the air. You know how big that is? You know how huge that is? And again, this little catalyst can do more for the environment than, you know, everyone driving electric cars. I mean, it's huge. So get the information down about the product, and again, keep it simple. But when people get on they get on the phone with someone and they don't know the term organometallic catalyst, well, again, you stumble around, you get nervous, and people go, well, you know, call me when you know more about the product. Okay. Your story, company, product. The next is timing. Now, timing can mean several things. Essentially, timing is why you should join this organization, why you should join my organization now. Let's talk about a few things on timing. Fuel prices. Okay, we just got a note from one of our distributors or one of our promoters over in Australia. By the first of the year, they expect fuel prices to go up by 45%. Okay, well, if fuel prices are going up, what does that also mean? That also means inflation is going up. A dozen eggs cost more today than it cost twice as much today as it did a year ago. It literally affects everything we touch. One of the phrases you'll hear me say, when farmers are putting $6 diesel in their tractors and truckers are putting $6 diesel in their trucks, it affects everything that we touch. We need to make more money today just to maintain our lifestyle than we did a year ago. I think in the U.S. it's $5,000 to $7,000 U.S. dollars. What are people's options today to do that? Go get another job? Guess what we have at Govee? We have an option. They don't have to maximize their credit cards to get involved. They don't have to maximize their credit cards to stay involved. We have a better model. You understand that? Ground floor opportunity. Guys, we aren't even ground floor yet. We're still building the sub-basement. Have you ever seen how a skyscraper's built? Down in Salt Lake, they're starting to build some pretty good-sized buildings. They basically put up a big wall, and you hear for months, you banging, you hear stuff going on, you hear big machinery behind that wall, right? And then all of a sudden, they lay the foundation, and they lay the foundation for months. Then what happens? You don't go to Salt Lake for a week or so, all of a sudden you go to Salt Lake and there's a building standing there. Guys, we're 5 months into this. Tomorrow will be our 5-month mark. We've opened up 14 different distribution centers around the world in 5 months. We have 3 more, so we'll have 17. By the end of November, we'll have 17 distribution centers. We had some leaders in yesterday, and they go, man, that's pretty aggressive, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Understand, we've got the distribution centers, we've got the foundation in place. Now, we're not killing it in every one of those markets. We can now ship to about 60 countries, or a little over 60 countries. We're not killing it in all of those countries. But what we're doing is we're putting the infrastructure in place. We're putting the foundation in place. So we're in the basement, if you really want to know. And then what happens? The skyscraper can go from there. You know, our goal, and you can tell this on time and say, guys, we are at the ground floor of this. And you want to know a secret on how to make a lot of money in network marketing? Get with a good company with good timing and go to work. Put your head down and go to work. And so timing is basically the reason they should join right now. Okay, there isn't a better time to be joining Govee. We've got the sales materials, we've got the tools, we've got the product, we've got the distribution centers. We are literally expanding on a global basis. So your story, company, product, timing. The next is the compensation plan. Okay, and again, we keep it pretty simple. If you hear me talk about the compensation plan, you know, the core of the compensation plan is what's called the binary. Now, everybody in the world at this point probably knows what a binary is. That wears you the wears. You didn't have to speak real good English to build this business. That is where you build 2 legs. Okay, I keep it real simple, real general. You make 10 to 20% of the lesser leg depending upon your rank. And here's what you need to know about the binary. It maxes out at $20,000 a week. Now that may not be, you know, for a lot of people, 20,000 a week may be a stretch, but guys like Smiley, he wants to know what I can make on the big end, on the big side, right? We also have a 20% check match for personal sponsors. We also have 4 generations of 10% check match on generations of star makers. For the leaders, for me, I want to know that. Because I can make $1 million a year by just building 2 legs, over $1 million a year by just building 2 legs, okay? But here's the magic. Here's the cool part that I believe we have with Govee. We have these things called Govee Life Rewards bonuses. Now, you'll notice I basically have covered pretty much the compensation plan, binary, sponsoring bonus, check match, what it took me a minute and a half. Now I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to go over, and you've all seen it, the Govee Life Rewards. It was pretty funny. Yesterday we were having lunch and people were trying to explain how the Govee Life Rewards worked. And I pulled out my yellow pad and I pulled out my pen, and we were at lunch, and I just laid it across the table like that. And I said, look, here's how it works. Basically, the first thing we ask you to do, share the product, share the opportunity. And everybody busted up laughing, going, oh, yeah. I'm like, do you understand how it works now? We ask you to get two people. Well, if we ask you to get two people, in turn, they get two people. Now you've got what's called 2x2 bonus, so check paid out for $100. Once you've got your two people, and I covered it up, and I give the same presentation every single time, what's the next natural thing once you've got your two people? In Latin America, it's uno más. You add one more. Now you personally share the product, share the opportunity with three people. You help those three people get three people, and on and on. And if you've ever heard me give a presentation, it's essentially the same presentation every single time. But when I'm giving a presentation, it's just to a new person. So here's the crux of my entire training today, okay? As we're bringing people in, the best thing we can do, now we are growing fast, but sometimes you need to pump the brakes a little bit and say, okay, guys, let me help you get your presentation down. And it's not rocket science. Like the skills for network marketing, you don't have to be a super whiz or a rocket scientist to do it, but you do have to develop the process, okay? And one of the things that I do if I join a new company, I break it down 5 steps. Your story, company, my story stays the same, except the part where why I'm here. Why I'm in Govee and not any other company out there. We have the best model, period, in the industry. We have a product that is a worldwide universally acceptable product. We have a model that is a worldwide universally acceptable model. Guys, if you understand the power of what I just said, that's why Govee is growing like crazy. So I sit down and my story stays the same, but I learn about the company, okay? If I'm looking to make a 6-figure income, I need to be telling that story, and I need to be telling it properly. In most cases, and I haven't joined a lot of companies, but I go meet the guys. I go and I ask them, why are you doing this? Why do you have the model you have? I go kick the bricks. Come to Salt Lake. We'd love to have you come out. We are entering a period, November, December. It's going to slow down a little bit, right? It may not, because we're going crazy. Now would be a good time. Come out. Products. I learn about the products, and I don't get all the scientific. I mean, I know the scientific documents. I know the active ingredient is paracetamol. I know all that stuff, but I keep it very simple, very basic. The compensation plan. I want to understand the compensation plan. And if you don't understand it, you don't need to be a mathematician or anything. But if you understand, we have a binary that literally pays twice as much. Most binaries max out at $10,000 a week. Ours maxes out at $20,000 a week. Which is better? It's not a trick question. We have in most companies, it takes somewhere between 25 and 40 distributors in your organization just to break even. In our company, with 20 to 30 distributors in your organization, you're making $500 to $1,000 a month. Which is better? 30 people to break even or 30 people to make $1,000 a month? Again, guys, understand we're that much better. Timing. Holy cow. Is there a better time that you could have to have a fuel tablet product in the world? This is the first time in 32 years of doing this industry that I have a product. It doesn't matter. In the month of October, I was in Poland, I was in Ecuador, I was in Canada, all over the US. And it doesn't matter whether I'm in Poland, Ecuador, Minnesota, Canada, California. It is a worldwide universal issue. Fuel prices are up, which is driving inflation up, and we have a solution for that. So hopefully this has been helpful. Like I say, if you're new to the business, I would challenge you to write go through these steps, 5 steps: your story, company, product, timing, compensation. Your story, company, product, timing, compensation. I mean, write those, and literally on every portion of the presentation, just write it out, write some cliff notes, and think about what you're going to say if you get someone on the phone. Okay. Now, as you're doing this, once you have this done, here's what you do with Gobi. Okay, now we've set up a 6K guaranteed pay. We will pay you $6,000 a year if you will do the basics. Let the tools do the work. What are we talking about when we talk about the basics? You send out a video, 1 video a day. You add tag message someone into the Facebook group. You let the tools do the work. But then you have to follow up on those. When you send the videos, you follow up with them, and you're comfortable. Basically, if you get somebody on the phone, I mean, that's the crazy part. A lot of people call somebody on the phone following up, and they hope they don't answer, right? Oh man, I hope they don't. That's not how we build the business, guys. Get your spiel down. Your confidence level will go up. Your demeanor will go up. Your posture will go up. And then what's the next thing in the 6K pay? Use a 3-way call. You put someone else on the phone, and it doesn't really matter who it is. But this last week, we've had an incredibly busy week. Okay, I mean, we are bringing leaders in, we're bringing teams in from literally all over the world. And I can absolutely tell the difference between the people who know what they're doing and the people who don't know what they're doing. People who don't know what they're doing, I have a conversation like this. They'll call me up and say, hey, I've got this guy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going, okay, well, we can get on the phone. No, man, I'm talking to him. He's just about ready. He's just about ready to go. Where someone like a Darren, or someone like an Angel and Carrie, or someone like a Rebecca, or someone like a Smiley says, hey, I've got this guy. When can we set up a call with him? And literally, I've been on the call with the leaders. We're bringing leaders. We're bringing teams in. Guess what the leaders of these teams did? I did 3-way calls, 3-way Zooms. They're not calls anymore. They're Zooms with every single one of their leaders personally. They got on the phone. They knew me. And guess what I did? Told my story. I told the story of Gobi every single time. And to this date, I haven't heard how Darren's individual was, but to date, we are 100% as far as those leaders, other leaders joining the company. And so it's once they hear the story, once they hear basically what we're doing, where we're going, why we're there, they're going, this is awesome. And guess what they do? They get leaders. We have another call today with now we're at the next level of leaders in this organization. And so anyway, hopefully this has been helpful. You know, as leaders, if you're superstars, you need to reach down to your people and help them get their stories in place. This business is about duplication and retention. The best way to duplicate is to train your people exactly what to do, exactly what to say, because a lot of times we skip that step. We just move on to the next. It's not about moving on to the next. It's about basically nurturing and helping our new promoters until they're comfortable doing their own thing. And so let's go out. Let's have a great week, guys. It's the start of November. Holy cow, let's go out and rock it. We can see our growth is going crazy. As a company, we're just more excited. We're grateful for all of you and everything that you're doing. Lance and Angel are in Japan and going to be in Korea or Japan today and tomorrow. We've got events today and tomorrow and Monday. And then they're on to Korea. So we're just expanding like crazy. So love you guys. Let's go out and have a great weekend. Let's have a great month. Let's go out and just rock this business. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you being on this morning.
Thanks, let's go.
Great call.
Great
Go
call.
time.
Thank you.